Hello amigos, this is Sebastian from the Rhythm section, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new album mixtape thing from Bladee called EXETER. Bladee is an equally loved and memed Swedish cloud rap pioneer who's a member of Drain Gang, and this project EXETER comes off of the back of his 2018 mixtape Ice Dancer, which featured a lot of more poppy production, and he followed it up with his collaborative Drain Gang Trash Island project in 2019, and the group has been growing in popularity, especially ever since Echo2K dropped his E project last year, produced by Gud. This is Blade's first full collaborative project with young Gud, but the results are mostly pretty good. The instrumentals on the album are a uniquely psychedelic mixture of sort of cloud rap and art pop that doesn't venture too far from the type of instrumentals that young Gud was also producing for Echo2K's E project last year, as well as draws a lot of influence from the current art pop style that's been popularized by A.G. Cook and artists like Hannah Diamond, who Bladee recently collaborated with. The production and the lyrical themes on the album have a really unique mix of esoteric, religious, and transcendental references with a pretty strong childlike innocence. So the album has a very unique style to it, but lots of the songs are just so undercooked here, and the album's not really long enough that I can't help but feel like Bladee and Gud aren't really going the full distance with the potential that their ideas had here. Another handicap on the project is that while the production is really good, there are certain points where the mixing is just not quite up to the same par as the rest of the project. For example, Love Story was one of my favorite tracks here because Echo had a really strong chorus melody, and the production's really cool. It sounds like 808 Mafia got in the business of producing like a wind-up music box or something, and this is what came out. But it's just handicapped by this really unflattering bass distortion that's happening from some sort of compressor or limiter that's just turned up a little too high near the end of the track. There's also the song Rainbow Star, where the hi-hats and the snare sound really claustrophobic and they're really squished in the mix, and it just ends up sounding really clipped. What's especially disappointing about the fact that Love Story and Rainbow Star are two of the songs with the worst mixing on here is that they are also two of my favorite songs, like some of the best developed like full songs on here, because like I said before, lots of the songs here suffer from the fact that Bladee finds one sort of interesting thing to say, some sort of esoteric, religious, or philosophical reference, and then he just repeats it over and over again. And for some tracks it works. It has like a sort of dreamy mantra-like effect, and the production is super overwhelming and it comes together well, for example on DNA Rain. But on songs like Every Moment Special and Open Symbols, the production isn't really hitting the same highs as DNA Rain, and that tracks just end up feeling a little bit boring and slightly uneventful, even if they do have such an interesting sonic texture to them. I'd say that the opener Mirror Him also falls into the same sort of trap of him repeating the same line over and over again, but I think the vocal melody as well as the instrumental on this track are significantly better than the other more repetitive tracks on here, and it reminds me a lot of Echo2K's AAA Powerline song from his album E from last year. I think as an opener it actually works pretty well. My least favorite of these more repetitive tracks though has to be Imaginary, the closer. I do like the kind of quirkiness of how Bladee is pronouncing Imaginary on this song, and I don't think the melody is really terrible in theory, but this is one of Blade's weakest vocal performances on the album, and he already has like a sort of meandering, like Morrissey type delivery on lots of these songs that isn't going to sit well with people already. And I think he's just a little bit too off-key on this song to the point where it sounds kind of awkward. Sometimes his vocals sound awkward in a good way. On most of the tracks here, and especially Merry Go Round, his vocals have a tendency to, because of their awkwardness, it feels kind of like he's being overwhelmed by like bliss or the strong emotions that some sort of drugs are giving him or something. But I think Imaginary it really just doesn't work out in his favor. So in conclusion, I can appreciate that Bladee is evolving and he's trying to take his music in a bit of a more artistic direction with lots of oddball religious references. There are a lot of musical ideas and lyrical topics that are touched on here that you're not going to find on any other album. It's very unique and creative, but I think the execution still could be improved pretty significantly for the next album. I'm feeling like a solid 6 on this album. I think it's really unique. I think Bladee deserves to be taken seriously, and I can see how it could be a favorite easily for lots of Drain Gang fans because of its uniqueness. It's just not one of my favorites, and I don't think this is really the best that Bladee could have executed this idea. And even though this album does have like a very unique sound and some lyrical topics that you're really not going to catch on like any other album, if you enjoyed it, if you liked this album a lot, give this one a shot. Laser Guided Melodies by Spiritualized. This is a dream pop album, dream pop space rock album that reaches a lot of the euphoric highs that I think Bladee was trying to reach throughout this album. And I think if you are a rock fan and you're looking for the same kind of vibe, sort of, that Bladee is going for on EXETER, then you'll like this album a lot. Thanks, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye!